Hello everyone, my name is Nui. Today we're going to be talking about Ryan Beatty and a little bit about his work and why he's one of my favorite artists, like top 10, top tier. And he continues to be. He's dropping new music soon, and like as one of his fans that's like super passionate about his work, I actually like want to absolutely destroy this album cycle, get the pitchfork review, get every single accolade that he deserves because it's about time. Like I want to destroy this album cycle as a fan of his, and I will absolutely do the work to get there. So, where does he come from? You might recognize him from singing hooks on Brockhampton's songs or being featured in a Tyler Creator single or some of his personal solo projects, such as Dreaming with David or Boy in Jeans. One of my favorite things to say to people when they are kind of curious as to who Ryan Beatty is basically saying, like, if there's a really catchy hook in a Brockhampton song, like, there's a chance that either Ryan Beatty sung it or he wrote it. Been in the industry for a very long time and is one of those artists who kind of had a come up directly with Justin Bieber, Cody Simpson, and like all of those first round of YouTubers who kind of came up through that wave. At the time, he was considered to be like a teenage heartthrob, and the comparisons between him and Justin Bieber were crazy because they both did YouTube covers together. There are videos of him singing on an airplane in one of the interviews, which is really funny. Like, funny now, but like that was what you did back then. And he also used to collaborate with other artists like Cimarelli or some of the other bands, cover bands on YouTube as well to kind of get his start.
No, I can't, but honestly, won't someone stop this train?
You can kind of see in the last clip that I included that he did end up opening for Cody Simpson or going on tour with him. He's like very like Radio Disney, like very clean cut, and he actually did end up dropping an EP at the time and has interviews with Ryan Seacrest and other like media music outlets at the time. So it's not like he wasn't unknown, like he was very, very popular at the time. Some of his old work is not featured on Spotify, but it is still on YouTube if you want to check it out. So that's like kind of a frame of reference for the start of his career. I mentioned some of his earlier interviews like in the beginning of this video because of how much they are like actually worth watching. If you go back to like the Wall Street Journal interview or the Ryan Seacrest interview, which I'm going to include some snippets in the video, but they're definitely worth the watch because you can kind of tell that at a very young age he did actually have a path for his career.
From the beginning, I wouldn't say stubborn, but like people would give me these songs that weren't me, and I was like, I'm not gonna just do what's kind of popular. I want to do the music that I like, and so that's why I've found the team that I've liked because they've let me do that. They've let me kind of create myself as the artist that I want to be, rather than someone coming in and being like, this is what you're gonna look like, this is what you're gonna wear, this is how you're gonna sound. I've created the sound myself, and obviously with producers' help and things like that, but explaining what I want and how I want, I'm very on top of it like that.
I know that this is still a big issue today because some of the musicians that might be coming off of TikTok or getting offers from major labels are kind of like, it's so tempting. It's so tempting to see the check, to see the offer, and to just say yes to whatever they tell you to do. It's so hard to actually stay true to who you are as an artist. So I'm surprised that at 15, 16, 17, like he was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go a more sustainable route, and maybe he would have had the same career or like achieved the same success as Justin Bieber, but it just wouldn't have been him. I'm going to insert another clip from the Ryan Seacrest interview, and this kind of like highlights another main reason why I love him so much. It's like, at this day and time, in this era of his, like Radio Disney era, like he is getting questions from grown women or like adults and people just like bothering him constantly because of his like female fan base and like how much the heartthrob like era like was a part of his like image at the time, but it was just like so unnecessary.
I mean, she started this Twitter literally.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, from a couple months after I got on YouTube,
Okay.
so it's like
So she's a fan too. She's been there supporting you. Right?
Yeah.
And you want a woman that's going to support your career, support you.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
Let's stop. Let's stop. Okay, wait, just a second. I said go to prom. I never mentioned anything about anything like that. So,
So have they taught you any things on how to pick up the ladies?
I don't need help on that. Come on, let's be real.
I'm sorry.
I'm teaching everybody.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Do you know what romance is at 17?
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah?
But you know, I am 17 and I'm single right now. But I'm still kind of young and I'm still kind of really trying to find out what really. This sounds so. I'm gonna sound so stupid when I say this, but what love is, because really, like,
the girls are going crazy right now watching this.
Side eye. I am side-eyeing the adults, and I want to know if the ladies that she's talking about are in the room right now. And are they going crazy? So at the time, he does not know what love is, and he's on tour. He's doing his album cycle, and then afterwards, I think he took a massive break from the music industry to just be a kid again after the fame, success, and everything, and decided to go on a break for a couple of years. And then what really excites me is we get the Ryan Beatty. So the break lasted 6 years. 6 years of a big break for him to do what he said he was going to do. And he came back with a vengeance. I just did my research, and yes, Brockhampton dropped Saturation 3 first. And then, which is the one that Ryan features on for Bleach. He does Sugar and a couple of other songs. But that was like their big break. So we first get that Ryan when we get a comeback, and then we also get the Boy in Jeans like right after. After not having full creative control, you can kind of see Ryan coming in to do what he knows how to do. He not only drops one visual for the album, but he writes a beautiful album and drops like, I want to do a number count of the amount of videos he drops like for this specific album. It's 11. It's 11 videos for this one album. He has 14 songs on the album. 11 out of 14 is a lot of videos to make. That's how you know someone's passionate. He like Beyonce does. And there's a quote that I really enjoy that makes me like so proud. This is kind of him talking about how he met the producer that he worked with, Calvin, who did work with like HubSpot, and like how he met his friend Ian. I didn't feel like people took me seriously or wanted to work with me. It wasn't until last July, literally the day my album comes out is a year since I met Calvin, that I did the whole record with. It's absolutely insane. The first day we worked together, he came to my show that I was doing in Venice. It's a random show my friend invited me to play at. I was so close to not going. I was on the 405, stuck in traffic on the way there. I was so frustrated. I was just playing this Amy Winehouse cover that night. But they go to work together and make the song Euro, which is on that album. And then they go on to create the whole Boy and Jean album. I would sit here and kind of go through the whole album. It is 14 songs, but I definitely do have favorites. It's like a complete transformation from like the stereotypical like boy that like becomes famous. Like he all of a sudden is in the back of a convertible with a disco ball, like driving through the street. Like it is magical. It is magic in a visual. He's kind of able to express himself more freely about how, like his sexuality and his experience like throughout high school or like as an adult you kind of get to see like the lens that he is able to experience love through. Like it's a lot of like wrestling and like fighting and like simple things, but yet like the visuals are quite stunning. My honorable mention from that album is the song Party's Over. That's my personal favorite song and video. It is glorious. I love how the video starts and ends. It's a really good album. I would definitely check it out, and then we're gonna move towards the next era that is like 2 years later, I want to say. He kind of stopped doing like video interviews, so a lot of the information that I'm getting is like from interviews that he's giving magazines, which is like pretty typical. But I would love to interview him at some point in a video format because I just love hearing him speak and like answer questions and his sense of humor. I feel like that gets like cut out of the like writing interviews. Like he's just funny and I enjoy it. So I would love to interview him at some point. So we're going to try to speed run Dreaming of David real quick because I really am excited for the new album. We're going to talk about some of the visuals he has put out for Calico, and it's literally next month, and I want to do a good job, and I don't want to take up too much time. But Dreaming of David is such a good album. It was released in 2020, and this is during the time of COVID. He did tour like the first round when he did his album cycle for Boy in Jeans, but there was no opportunity to tour the second time because we were in the middle of a pandemic. This is an album that got me through the pandemic personally, but he did drop like a live studio like performance to make up for that. So like I'm satisfied. I am sad that I couldn't go see him do the album for that, but we were in the middle of a pandemic and like you couldn't go see a show at the time. And yeah, it's like one of my favorite albums ever, but this is a breakup album. Like this made me cry so much. Even in the middle of a pandemic, like he did still end up putting out 3 videos for this album specifically. It's not as many as the last time, but I do think that these ones were more concise. And I'm really glad that we do still get a visual for this album because that's like a part of why I love him so much. We've ditched the blonde and we're back to brunette, like we're back to our roots, and like we are having a breakup time, like a breakup era. There are really some like amazing themes throughout the album. I think it's mostly about like showing appreciation for the person that you were like in love with, like unconditional love in a sense, like it never leaves you. I also really like Genesis too because he does have like religious themes. He comes from a religious family, a conservative family, so it's like nice to hear like that aspect of it. It's like a beautifully written song, and from like a sonic perspective, like he has a lot of different distortions on his voice, and the production is like a lot better. Like it's a lot more like true to who he is. It's very like experimental, I would say, but it's also like still stunning. I found like the song Dark Circles really impressive when I first heard it, and then I sort of really got into like the Genesis Backseat Brother like trio that like really hurt me. Those are like my 3 favorites like throughout the album. When I did my first run through is like when I decided like this is an album that I will love for the rest of my life. I hope that he tours singing some of the songs from this album because I feel like they deserve justice, obviously. And I just, it slayed. He did such a good job on this. I think these 2 albums were released under a different label, I think. So we're going to start talking about Calico and some of the visuals that I'm really excited about. So let's talk about Calico, the album that is coming out on April 28th. I'm making this video today on March 15th because he just dropped it today. And I was like, it's time. It's time to hit the press and let's do this. What did we get visually for Ryan Beatty's new album? It was just so impressive and so beyond me that that's why I'm excited to make this video and talk about it because it was so cool. So I have been like pretty new to Ryan Beatty as a fan. Like I listened to a little bit of him like in his Boy and Gene era, and then I really got into him during COVID. So I started following him on social media, but like he's a pretty shy person. Like pretty I shouldn't say shy, but a pretty private person, so he really doesn't post a lot. But all of a sudden I woke up one morning and I noticed that his entire feed was gone, and this is all that I saw. I saw a picture of him holding a plate and there was like a little text there, and I kind of had the feeling that new music was coming, and I was like, are we really doing this? Because he blanked out his Instagram profile. Pretty recently afterwards, he dropped this poem. He posted this poem and posted it on Instagram, and then put up a link to his website, which was pretty cool. Like the website contained like a puzzle piece where you had to like, the only way you could get access to it is if you moved the puzzle piece into the poem, and then it led you to like a jigsaw, which is where I first found out that the album was going to drop on April 28th, because I was like, is there any way that he's actually like selling a jigsaw? Like I don't know, like I would buy it, yes, but like most likely the album is dropping on April 28th, and he's telling the real ones when he's dropping it. So I was like, noted, April 28th, duh. So then today, like as of this morning, he dropped a post talking about the official release date, which is the 28th, and how he has a single coming out pretty soon. The single is dropping out on Friday, which is called Ribbons, which I'm really excited about. And he has a couple of other visuals. He just updated his Spotify. Like Ryan Beatty was working today. I saw that he updated his Spotify, his Twitter, like a lot of his socials, so we get some new pictures and stuff like that, which I am so excited to show. I don't know what type of album it's going to be. Like I have asked Ryan Beatty for like a little sneak peek and stuff, and I think that he is just saving it for the release date, which I am more than happy to wait and talk to him about it later, which I hope. But he made a website and it was so cool, and I just loved the whole experience of it from a fan perspective, and it just helped me build up my hype for the album. And I'm hyped. And thank you, Ryan. I love you. I cannot wait to see you on tour. I will be seeing you soon. I hope you enjoyed the video if you're watching. Like,